Hey there, everybody. Today we're talking corn dogs. And corn dogs for me remind me of state fairs back in Louisiana and Texas, where you take that mystery meat hot dog, dip it in a slightly sweet batter, and then deep fry it to golden perfection. Eat it with a little ketchup and mustard. What can be better than that? We're going to start off with the pork shoulder or the Boston butt, and we're going to separate this muscle right here. This muscle is called the copa, probably my favorite muscle on the entire pig, and it's because it's a collection of muscles with just gorgeous fat right in between them. So let's remove the copa, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. Now that the spine, the ribs, and the feather bones have been removed, we're just going to fold that copa right away from that Boston butt, and this is what our copa muscle looks like. You can cut this into steaks and have copa steaks, and they're absolutely fantastic. And if you want to watch a special video on me just butchering the copa to show you how I do it, then be sure to leave me a comment and a thumbs up. That'd be awesome. So we're just going to go ahead and prepare this because this is going to satisfy the pork portion of our hot dog. For the beef portion of our hot dog, we're going to take a ribeye roast, and we're going to dry age it for 45 days. We're using the Sausage Maker's dry aging wraps. It couldn't be easier. We just wrap it in that plant-based material, put that netting around it, and pop it in the fridge for 45 days. You can't go wrong with this method. After 45 days, this is what our ribeye roast is going to look like. So I'm just going to debone it, remove any of the bark that's been formed because of dry aging, and then I'm just going to dice this up into small pieces, get ready for the grinder. We're going to grind this 3 times before we emulsify it. I'm going to start with a medium plate, I'm going to go to a small, and then I'm going to end up on an extra small, and the trick here is making sure that my meat is partially frozen every time I grind it. If it's not frozen, I'm going to end up running the risk of melting my fat. I don't want to do that. So now that our meat is ready, we're going to get our seasoning blend together. And what I'm using here, this is kind of like the secret ingredient. This is potato starch. And potato starch is not only a binder, but it's going to help retain a lot of moisture. So our hot dogs are going to be super juicy, and it's going to really help out when we emulsify them. And if you want more information, I'll put a link in the description box below. So now that we've got our meat ready, I'm going to go ahead and add my seasonings. And I'm going to mix that until it's mostly incorporated. What makes hot dogs different than fresh sausages is that it's an emulsified sausage. So we're going to use our food processor, which is strong enough to emulsify sausage. And I might have a little bit of ice cold water right there available. So we're just going to add that seasoned pork and beef mixture that just smells amazing. Close the lid, and we're going to begin the process of emulsifying this. And emulsifying, it simply means to process our meat and fat in such a way that it becomes one. So by the time you're done, it's going to create a paste where the fat and the protein are no longer distinguishable. The trick here is keeping everything really cold, otherwise your emulsification will split, and you definitely don't want that. But that potato starch really helps out. The seasoning blend that we're using for this recipe is the hot dog seasoning pack from the Sausage Maker, and whatever they're putting in it really captures the freshness and the authenticity of a really good hot dog. Trust me on this one. Finally, we're going to get our sausage press ready and stuff some hot dogs. Now that our hot dogs are formed, they're technically finished. All we got to do is poach them, and they're ready to eat. But these hot dogs are going to go to the smoker because we're going to use a little pecan, a little bit of cherry to lightly accent the flavor of that copa, the flavor of that 45-day-old dry-aged beef. And we're going to finish it off by steaming them with a steam bath until the internal temperature reaches 150 to 155. And at that point, they're perfect. I use my Thermapen to monitor a couple different points on the hot dogs, and once I get a good average, I'm going to go ahead and pull them. And now that my hot dogs are done, I'm just going to stick them in an ice-cold water bath to stop the cooking process, at which point we can move on to the corn dog batter. And here we go. The recipe for my corn dog batter is going to be in the description box below, but basically, we're going to take our dry ingredients, whisk those together, and then we're going to begin to incorporate our wet ingredients. So we have our egg, we have our buttermilk, and we're going to gently whisk that together. We don't want to stir it too aggressively because I'm not trying to incorporate air into this particular batter. One ingredient I almost forgot is the honey, and so we're going to add our honey at this point, and the recipe is going to be good for about 5 or 6 corn dogs, but you could double or triple it. Once you're done with your batter, and it's going to be fairly thick, you're going to want to pour that into a relatively tall, narrow glass. As soon as your batter's in the glass, put it in the refrigerator because we want it as cold as possible. So now it's time to get our hot dogs ready, and there's a lot of different ways to do this, but I like to just roll my hot dog in some cornstarch and then shake any excess cornstarch off. And what this is going to do, it's going to help that batter really adhere to your hot dog. So we're just going to go ahead and get all that ready as we prepare for the final step, which is taking our hot dog and dipping it in our batter. And all we're doing is we're just putting it right down the middle, giving it a twist, making sure it's completely coated. As I pull it out, I twist it around, and it goes directly into a 350 to 375 degree oil bin where we're going to fry these until they're golden brown. I can't wait to eat these corn dogs. It's been something like 15 years since I've had one, and the way I've always enjoyed a good corn dog was with a little bit of mustard and a little bit of ketchup, and today we're going to do just that. We've got the dry-aged 45-day ribeye, we've got the copa muscle, some smoke. Our hot dog is going to be juicy, the texture is going to be perfect. Well, let's just see what they taste like. Wow, this corn dog is incredible. The batter is light and crispy, slightly sweet, fried perfectly. The hot dog itself has so much flavor. There's a little dry age going on. There's a little smoke going on. The copa, it's so juicy. And, well, there you have it. The ultimate corn dog from Two Guys in a Cooler. Thank you for watching this video and allowing me to share my corn dog experience. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to click that like button, that subscribe button, that notification bell. Man, there's a lot to do if you're new to watching my channel. Anyway, I'd like to say thank you and welcome to the channel. We post new videos each week. We'll see you in the next one.